Crucial Conversations by Joseph Grenny, Al Switzler, Carrie Patterson, Ron Macmillan. Introduction. Picture this. You're sitting across from a colleague, friend, or loved one, and you know the conversation ahead could change everything. It's one of those moments where what you say, how you say it, and how they respond will determine the future of that relationship, decision, or even a project at work. These are crucial conversations, those moments when emotions run high, opinions differ, and the stakes are significant. How you handle these conversations can shape your career, relationships, and even your personal happiness. In Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High, authors Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron Macmillan, and Al Switzler provide a roadmap for navigating these conversations with skill and confidence. They define a crucial conversation as one where three factors are at play. Emotions are involved, opinions differ, and the stakes are high. Whether you're negotiating a raise, resolving a conflict with a partner, or addressing a sensitive issue with a friend, this book teaches you how to handle these conversations with grace, effectiveness, and mutual respect. This summary will guide you through the key lessons and principles from Crucial Conversations, breaking down the essential techniques so you can apply them in your own life. However, keep in mind that this is just a summary, a simplified guide to the core ideas. For the full experience, I encourage you to pick up a copy of the book. It's filled with practical exercises, real-life examples, and deeper insights that will empower you to transform even the most challenging conversations into positive outcomes. Chapter 1. What's a crucial conversation and who cares? We all have conversations, but not all of them are equally important. Some are the small, everyday interactions that make up the fabric of our relationships, while others, crucial conversations, can change everything. These high-stakes conversations arise in various aspects of life, at work, at home, with friends, and even within ourselves. A crucial conversation happens when emotions are intense, opinions are opposing, and the outcome has a meaningful impact. For instance, imagine you're at work, and your boss is consistently underestimating your contribution to a project. You know you need to address the issue, but you're worried about how it might affect your relationship or future opportunities. This is a crucial conversation. If you handle it poorly, you risk straining the relationship or missing out on recognition. If you handle it well, you could build a stronger, more respectful working relationship and ensure your efforts are acknowledged. The authors explain that most people struggle with crucial conversations because they trigger stress responses, which can cause us to either avoid the discussion or confront it in an unproductive, combative way. The stakes are high, so it's easy to feel nervous, angry, or defensive. However, avoiding these conversations can lead to long-term problems. If left unaddressed, issues can fester, erode trust, and damage relationships. The good news is that by learning how to handle these conversations with skill, you can navigate them successfully and achieve better outcomes. You don't have to choose between avoiding conflict and escalating it into a fight. The book teaches you how to stay calm, express yourself clearly, and ensure that both parties feel heard and respected. Key takeaway: crucial conversations occur when emotions run high, opinions differ, and the stakes are significant. Handling them well can strengthen relationships, foster mutual understanding, and lead to positive outcomes, while avoiding or mishandling them can cause long-term damage. Chapter 2. Mastering Crucial Conversations. Mastering crucial conversations isn't just about what you say, it's about how you manage yourself and your emotions during the discussion. When you find yourself in a high-stakes conversation, your body's natural stress response kicks in, making it difficult to think clearly and communicate effectively. This chapter focuses on the importance of managing your emotions so that you can stay in control of the conversation. The authors point out that people tend to respond to crucial conversations in one of three ways. They either avoid them, handle them poorly, or face them head-on with a strategy. Those who master crucial conversations have developed the skills to handle them with grace and effectiveness. One of the key strategies for mastering crucial conversations is to stay focused on what you really want. Often, when emotions flare up, it's easy to get sidetracked by the desire to win the argument or prove the other person wrong. However, this rarely leads to a positive outcome. Instead, you should continually ask yourself, what do I want for myself? What do I want for the other person? What do I want for the relationship? By keeping these questions in mind, you can stay focused on your goals and avoid being derailed by emotions. For example, let's say you're in a conversation with your spouse about household responsibilities. You might be frustrated because you feel like you're doing more than your fair share, but instead of focusing on your anger, you can redirect your attention to what you really want: a fair distribution of responsibilities and a harmonious relationship. By staying focused on these larger goals, you're more likely to approach the conversation with a constructive attitude. Another technique discussed in this chapter is to make it safe for everyone involved. When people feel unsafe, emotionally or socially, they tend to either shut down or become aggressive. In crucial conversations, creating an environment where both parties feel safe to express themselves is critical. This means ensuring that there is mutual respect and that both individuals are working toward a common goal. Key takeaway: mastering crucial conversations requires managing your emotions and staying focused on your goals. By keeping the bigger picture in mind and creating a safe environment for open dialogue, you can navigate high-stakes conversations more effectively. Chapter 4. Learn to look. In a crucial conversation, things can go south quickly, often without us even realizing it. This chapter emphasizes the importance of staying aware during the conversation, both of your own emotions and the reactions of the other person. The authors refer to this as learning to look, the ability to recognize when the conversation is going off track so that you can correct course before it escalates. Learning to look involves paying attention to two things: content and conditions. Content refers to what's being discussed, while conditions refer to the emotional and social dynamics of the conversation. When the content is solid but the conditions are deteriorating, meaning emotions are rising, people are getting defensive, or the dialogue is becoming unsafe, you need to step in and address the conditions before continuing with the content. For example, imagine you're in a meeting with a colleague, discussing a project that has gone off track. You notice that they're starting to get defensive and interrupting you, and you feel your own frustration building. At this point, the conversation is no longer productive. Instead of continuing to argue over the details of the project, the content, you need to address the conditions. I feel like this conversation is getting heated. Can we take a step back and make sure we're both on the same page? The authors explain that people tend to fall into one of two unhealthy responses when they feel unsafe in a conversation: silence or violence. Silence means withdrawing from the conversation, avoiding confrontation, or withholding information. Violence, on the other hand, refers to attacking, blaming, or controlling the conversation. Both responses prevent productive dialogue and lead to misunderstandings. Your job in a crucial conversation is to remain vigilant for signs that someone, including yourself, is slipping into silence or violence. By learning to look for these cues, you can steer the conversation back toward a healthy and respectful exchange. Key takeaway: learn to look for signs that the conversation is going off track, either because of rising emotions or defensive behavior. Address the conditions of the conversation, making sure everyone feels safe, before continuing with the content. Chapter 5. Make it safe. Safety is the foundation of any successful crucial conversation. When people feel safe, they're more likely to speak openly and honestly, even about difficult topics. However, when they feel threatened, either emotionally, socially, or psychologically, they tend to shut down or become aggressive. This chapter explores how to create and maintain a sense of safety during crucial conversations. To make a conversation safe, the authors suggest focusing on two key elements: mutual purpose and mutual respect. Mutual purpose means that both parties feel like they're working toward a common goal, while mutual respect ensures that both individuals feel valued and understood. If at any point in the conversation you sense that the other person feels threatened or disrespected, it's important to pause and restore safety. One way to do this is by explicitly stating your mutual purpose. For example, if you're having a difficult conversation with a coworker about missed deadlines, you could say, "I want to make sure we both succeed on this project. I know we both want it to go smoothly, and I'm here to find a way we can make that happen." Another way to restore safety is by apologizing if you've unintentionally hurt the other person. Apologies are powerful because they acknowledge the other person's feelings and demonstrate that you value the relationship. For example, if you've said something that came across as harsh, you could say, "I realize what I said earlier might have sounded disrespectful, and that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry if it hurt you, and I appreciate your perspective." Mutual respect is non-negotiable in crucial conversations. If the other person feels disrespected, they're unlikely to engage in productive dialogue. By actively listening, showing empathy, and validating their feelings, you can create an environment where both parties feel heard and valued. Key takeaway: safety is essential in crucial conversations. Ensure that both parties feel safe by focusing on mutual purpose and mutual respect. If safety is compromised, pause the conversation and restore it before continuing. Chapter 6. Master my stories. Emotions play a significant role in how we approach crucial conversations, and often, our emotions are shaped by the stories we tell ourselves. This chapter introduces the concept of mastering your stories, recognizing the difference between what actually happens, the facts, and the stories we create around those facts, our interpretations. When something happens, we immediately interpret the event and assign meaning to it, often without realizing it. For example, if a colleague dismisses your idea in a meeting, you might tell yourself a story that they don't respect you, or that they're trying to undermine you. These stories generate emotions, which in turn influence how you respond. The authors encourage you to become aware of the stories you tell yourself and to separate the facts from your interpretations. For instance, in the example above, the fact is that your colleague disagreed with your idea. The story you're telling yourself is that they don't respect you, but that's not necessarily true. By challenging your story, you can prevent yourself from reacting emotionally and instead approach the conversation with curiosity and an open mind. To master your stories, the authors suggest asking yourself the following questions. 1. What are the facts? Focus on what actually happened, not your interpretation of it. This helps you avoid jumping to conclusions based on assumptions. 2. What story am I telling myself? Recognize that your emotions are often tied to the story you've created about the event, rather than the event itself. 3. Is there another possible story? Consider alternative interpretations of the same facts. Could your colleague have disagreed with your idea for a legitimate reason that has nothing to do with disrespect? By mastering your stories, you gain control over your emotions and can engage in crucial conversations with clarity and calmness. This helps you avoid overreacting and instead approach the conversation with the goal of understanding the other person's perspective. Key takeaway: emotions are often driven by the stories we tell ourselves about events. By separating facts from interpretations and challenging your stories, you can manage your emotions and approach crucial conversations with clarity and composure. Chapter 7. State my path. Once you've mastered your emotions and clarified your perspective, it's time to share your viewpoint in the conversation. This chapter introduces a powerful framework called STATE, which helps you express your thoughts and feelings in a way that is both assertive and respectful. The acronym STATE stands for Share Your Facts. Start with the facts, as they are less likely to be controversial or emotionally charged. For example, instead of saying, "You're always late," you could say, "I've noticed that you've been late to our last 3 meetings." Stating the facts helps keep the conversation grounded and prevents misunderstandings. Tell your story. After sharing the facts, explain how you interpret them. This is where you share your perspective or the story you've created around the facts. For example, "When you're late, it makes me feel like the meeting isn't a priority for you." Ask for others' paths. Invite the other person to share their perspective. This shows that you're open to hearing their side of the story and that you're interested in finding a solution together. You could say, "Can you help me understand what's been happening on your end?" Talk tentatively. When sharing your story, do so in a way that suggests you're open to other interpretations. Instead of presenting your perspective as the only truth, use phrases like, "It seems to me," or "I'm beginning to wonder if." This invites dialogue and reduces defensiveness. Encourage testing. Encourage the other person to share their thoughts, even if they differ from yours. This fosters an open conversation and demonstrates that you're genuinely interested in hearing their viewpoint. For example, imagine you're discussing a project with a colleague who has been missing deadlines. Using the STATE framework, you could say, "I've noticed that the last 3 deadlines were missed. Share your facts. This has made me concerned that we might not be on the same page about priorities." Tell your story. "Can you help me understand what's been happening on your end?" Ask for others' paths. "I wonder if there's something we could do differently to stay on track." Talk tentatively. "I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can approach this." Encourage testing. By following the STATE framework, you can present your viewpoint in a clear, respectful, and non-threatening way, which encourages the other person to engage in productive dialogue. Key takeaway: use the STATE framework to express your thoughts and feelings in a way that is assertive yet respectful. By sharing facts, telling your story, inviting the other person's perspective, and talking tentatively, you create an environment for open and constructive conversation. Chapter 8. Explore others' paths. In crucial conversations, it's not enough to just share your perspective. You also need to genuinely understand the other person's point of view. This chapter emphasizes the importance of exploring the other person's path, which means actively listening to their thoughts, feelings, and concerns. The authors explain that in any conversation, people are following a mental path that leads them to their conclusions. This path consists of their experiences, thoughts, and emotions. To fully understand where someone is coming from, you need to explore their path and ask questions that encourage them to share their perspective. For example, let's say you're having a disagreement with a coworker about how to handle a client. Rather than jumping to conclusions or assuming they're wrong, you could ask open-ended questions to better understand their viewpoint. You might say, "Can you walk me through your thought process on this? I'd love to hear what led you to this conclusion." The authors provide several tools for exploring others' paths. Simply ask the other person to share their perspective. Open-ended questions like, "Can you help me understand how you're seeing this?" Or, What's your take on this situation? Invite them to share their thoughts without feeling attacked. Mirror. Reflect the other person's feelings to show that you're paying attention and that you care about their emotions. For example, if they seem frustrated, you could say, "It sounds like this has been really frustrating for you." Paraphrase. Summarize what the other person has said to ensure that you understand their perspective correctly. This also shows that you're actively listening and engaged in the conversation. You might say, "So, if I'm hearing you right, you're concerned that we're moving too quickly on this project?" Prime. If the other person is reluctant to share their feelings, you can prime the conversation by offering a guess about what they might be thinking or feeling. For example, "I'm wondering if you're feeling overwhelmed by the deadlines. Does that sound right?" By exploring others' paths, you create an environment where both parties feel heard and respected. This helps build trust and ensures that the conversation is more productive. Key takeaway: explore the other person's path by asking open-ended questions, mirroring their emotions, paraphrasing their thoughts, and priming the conversation when necessary. This helps you understand their perspective and fosters a more respectful and productive dialogue. Chapter 9. Move to action. A crucial conversation doesn't end when both parties have shared their perspectives. The next step is to turn those insights into action. This chapter focuses on how to ensure that conversations lead to concrete results, rather than just agreements that fade away. The authors emphasize the importance of clarity and accountability when moving from conversation to action. After discussing the issue, it's essential to outline specific steps that will be taken, who will take them, and by when. Without clear follow-up, even the best conversations can fall flat. For example, imagine you've had a crucial conversation with your spouse about dividing household chores more evenly. It's not enough to simply agree that things will change. You need to specify who will take on which tasks and how often. You might say, "Let's make a plan. I'll handle the laundry, and you'll take care of the dishes. We can check in at the end of each week to see how it's going." The authors suggest using the following questions to move from conversation to action. 1. Who will do what? Clearly define who is responsible for each task or action. This ensures that everyone knows what is expected of them. 2. By when? Set specific deadlines for when actions will be completed. This prevents vague agreements and ensures accountability. 3. How will we follow up? Establish a plan for checking in on progress. Whether it's a weekly meeting or a simple check-in, follow-up is key to ensuring that actions are carried out. The authors also stress the importance of documenting agreements, especially in professional settings. Writing down the outcomes of the conversation ensures that everyone is on the same page and reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings. Key takeaway: move from conversation to action by clearly defining who will do what, by when, and how you will follow up. This ensures that crucial conversations lead to real results and positive changes. Chapter 10. Putting it all together. By the end of the book, you've learned the essential skills for handling crucial conversations with confidence and effectiveness. This final chapter serves as a reminder that these conversations are a part of everyday life, whether at work, at home, or in any other setting. The authors emphasize that mastering crucial conversations is not about perfection, it's about progress. The goal is to apply these principles in your daily life, practicing them over time until they become second nature. You won't always handle every conversation perfectly, but by using the tools and techniques in this book, you'll become better equipped to navigate even the most challenging conversations. Remember, the key to success in crucial conversations is staying focused on your goals, managing your emotions, and creating a safe environment for open dialogue. By applying the principles of crucial conversations, you can strengthen your relationships, improve your communication skills, and achieve better outcomes in both your personal and professional life. Key takeaway: crucial conversations are an essential part of life. By applying the principles in this book, you can handle high-stakes conversations with skill and confidence, leading to stronger relationships, better communication, and more positive outcomes. Conclusion: Crucial Conversations is a powerful guide to navigating life's most challenging discussions. Whether in personal relationships, the workplace, or everyday interactions, mastering these conversations can dramatically improve the quality of your connections, decisions, and overall happiness. At the heart of the book is the idea that communication is a skill that can be learned, and with the right tools, you can transform even the most tense or difficult conversations into productive and positive exchanges. The authors, Carrie Patterson, Joseph Grenny, Ron Macmillan, and Al Switzler, provide a practical, easy-to-understand framework for approaching high-stakes conversations with confidence. Through techniques like starting with heart, creating a safe environment, mastering your stories, and using the STATE framework, you can avoid the pitfalls of miscommunication, defensiveness, and misunderstandings. Instead, you'll be equipped to stay calm, focused, and respectful, even when emotions are running high. The beauty of crucial conversations is that it doesn't just apply to big, life-changing moments. It can be used in everyday situations, whether you're resolving a conflict with a friend, negotiating at work, or discussing sensitive topics with a partner. The principles in this book empower you to approach these conversations with a clear mind, an open heart, and the skills needed to achieve meaningful outcomes. Ultimately, Crucial Conversations teaches that the quality of your life depends on the quality of your conversations. The better you become at handling these crucial moments, the more influence you'll have over the results, whether you're strengthening relationships, improving performance at work, or navigating tricky situations with loved ones. By practicing the skills outlined in this book, you can build stronger, more meaningful connections, and achieve success in both your personal and professional life.